Lesbian Detective. Unsolved cases. She's still missing. Yeah, they haven't found her yet. Well, let's talk about it.
They say he vanished without a trace. Could it be a psychotic break or a tragic accident? Police don't know where the body went. Unsolved murders, body still missing. That's unheard. Where's the witness? Lesbian detectives, what's going on? City on high alert, this out the norm. He did what, the who? Man, that ain't real, these crimes ain't true. Then come uncover these theories with us. We live right now, tuning in is a must.
Live right now. Lesbian Detective. Lesbian Detective. We about to start the show, so get your popcorn ready to go. Pay attention to the message I present to you, the Lesbian Detectives.
This is Lesbian Detectives. I'm Sarah.
And I'm Elizabeth.
And we are here talking about missing and unsolved murders.
We are discussing cases that you have forgotten about or never even heard of.
So sit back, relax, and let's start this podcast. Welcome back, everybody, to a new episode on a new week. I am so glad to be back, guys. I was on a little vacation and it was well needed. And I'm going back on vacation with my beautiful wife. We are going to Mexico. I cannot wait. I think my wife is more excited than me because it's like my birthday trip, but she's like, no. Like, I show her the hotel and I start second guessing myself. She's like, no, we're going to this hotel. I want to go to this hotel.
Yeah, but I also want to do Vegas. Xcareto is pretty expensive, so I don't know. I might just have to think of it as my own birthday present.
But, I mean, you kind of want a tattoo for your birthday. She want a half sleeve or a sleeve for your birthday?
I would prefer a whole sleeve, but we'll see.
And what's the tattoo? Phoenix?
A rising phoenix.
Because you rising from the ashes?
I've been transformed.
I feel like Las Vegas you have been to about 5,000 times.
But there's always something to do in Vegas.
But
I love Vegas. There's shows, there's entertainment, there's light.
That's true. But you know my favorite line. Now let's get into the episode. In the summer of 2004, an 18-year-old young woman moved back to Tulsa after spending her freshman year of college in Florida. Tulsa was where she grew up. It's where she went to high school, where her friends were, where her life had always been before she left for college the year before. But being away didn't turn out the way she expected. Like a lot of people leaving home for the first time, she got homesick. So by the spring of 2004, she made the decision to come back and continue school closer to home. At the time, it didn't seem like a big deal. Her family was happy to have her back. Her friends were excited to see her again. Everything about her decision felt normal, like she was picking up where she left off. There is nothing unusual about it. But looking back, that move would end up putting her life in the exact place where something would go very wrong. Within a few months of her coming home, she would cross paths with someone, and that person has never been identified. This is the case of Brittany Phillips. Her name was Brittany Phillips. She was born on October the 4th, 1985 in St. Petersburg to Dr. Maggie Zingman. She was the second child born just 15 months after her brother Josh. Her father was largely absent after her parents divorced during early years of her childhood. So Brittany and her brother was raised by their mother. For a short time, her family lived in Kentucky. But by 1991, they moved to Oklahoma, where they would settle permanently. Growing up, Brittany and her brother were close, though they had a typical sibling rivalry. Being so close in age meant they were always in similar stages of life. only about a grade apart in school. As a child, Brittany showed an early interest in acting and modeling. Even though she was shorter than many of her peers, something she often joked about, she was comfortable in front of the camera and had a natural presence. Academically, she stood out. She attended Union High School, where she performed well and earned a recognition for her achievement. Eventually, she was awarded a full ride scholarship to Edgar College. Despite this, Brittany didn't view herself as intelligent. She said that she was disciplined in her study habits, often downplaying her abilities and insisting others were smarter than her. Socially, she wasn't part of a tight-knit group. Instead, she was known for being friendly with everyone. A former classmate later would describe her as the kind of person who acknowledged you in the hallway, even if you weren't close. She was kind, approachable, and quietly well liked. Brittany graduated high school in May of 2003 at just 17 years old. She left that summer to Florida to attend college, where she planned to study chemistry. After losing her grandmother to cancer, she had developed a strong interest in cancer research and hoped to eventually contribute to finding a cure for it. But within a year, being away from home began to take a toll. She became extremely homesick. By May of 2004, near the end of her freshman year, Brittany decided to move to Tulsa. Her mother was living about an hour away in Chandler, Oklahoma, where she worked as a counselor at a women's correctional facility. But Brittany still had strong ties to Tulsa. Friends, family, and especially her brother Josh, who she had grown closer to in the recent months. At 18 years old, Brittany moved into Glenn's Eagles Apartments, a quiet complex located near her old high school. She lived alone in a second-floor unit, which was a step towards independence. The complex wasn't known for violent crimes. It was considered safe. She enrolled at Tulsa Community College and began rebuilding her routine, attending classes, spending time with her friends, and continuing her plans to pursue a career in the medical field, particularly cancer research. For now, she planned to earn her associate degree before making a long-term decision. Everything seemed normal until September 27, 2004. That Monday evening, Brittany spoke to her mother around 9 p.m. She told her she had been dealing with seasonal allergies and had trouble scheduling a doctor's appointment. Her mother told her she would help her set one up that Friday. Before ending the call, Brittany said that she was about to drop her friend off who lived about 2 miles away near East 51st Street and South Memorial Drive. After that, she planned to return home and go to bed. Their last words to each other were, "I love you." That was the last time anyone ever heard from Brittany. Over the next few days, she failed to show up to class. That was unusual. Her friends became concerned. At the time, her mother repeatedly tried to contact her, but received no response. Voicemails were left, but Brittany never called back. On Thursday, September 30th, 2004, a friend contacted police and requested a welfare check. At around 9 p.m., officers entered Brittany's apartment. Inside her bedroom, they found her body laying on the floor next to her bed. The scene was violent. The scene indicated a violent struggle. Her body was positioned opposite the direction of the bedding, suggesting she had been moved or fallen during the attack. The apartment appeared ransacked, although it was unclear if anything was actually stolen. Investigators found evidence that Brittany had been pushed against a wall before ending up on the floor, indicating that she fought her attacker. She had been sexually assaulted.
Her cause of death was determined to be strangulation. It remains unclear whether the killer used an object or manual force. Based on the condition of her body, investigators believe she had been killed sometime between the night of September the 27th and the morning of September the 28th. Her body remained in the apartment for several days before being discovered. Due to decomposition and the autopsy process, her family was never able to view her body again, not even during her funeral. Brittany's funeral was held on October the 4th, 2004, what would have been her 19th birthday. She was laid to rest at Rose Hill Memorial Park in Tulsa. One of the most puzzling aspects of this case was how the killer entered the apartment. There were no signs of forced entry or the doors or windows. One window screen had been removed, but investigators were unsure whether that was the point of entry or a staged detail. Another possibility involved the attic. The apartment building had a shared attic space connecting 8 units, with access points located inside closets. Investigators confirmed that a person could physically move between apartments through the space. They raised the possibility that the killer entered through the attic and was already inside when Brittany returned home. Police believe the killer may have entered before she arrived and attacked her shortly after she got home from dropping off her friend. DNA evidence was collected from the scene, including from the sexual assault. The samples matched a single unknown male. However, when entered into CODIS, there were no matches. Investigators tested over 3,000 individuals connected to Brittany: friends, classmates, neighbors, and acquaintances. None matched the DNA. This strongly suggested that the killer was not someone in her known social circle, or at least not someone who had been identified. In 2007, investigators released new information, including the presence of a light purple pillowcase found at the scene that did not belong to Brittany. They believe the killer may have brought it in with him and accidentally left it behind. Despite this, no leads emerged. In 2014, investigators identified a potential person of interest who fit the behavior profile. They sought a DNA sample from him, but nothing publicly confirmed ever came from that lead. In 2018, the DNA evidence was sent to Parabon Nanolabs for advanced analysis. Using genetic data, they created a composite image of the suspect. He was described as a white male of Northern European descent, likely with light-colored eyes and brown or dark blonde hair. Despite this advancement, the suspect remained unidentified. Investigators also released a behavioral profile suggesting the killer may have had a history of risky or aggressive behavior, possible sexual issues, and could have been someone who operated at night or lived a transient lifestyle. He may have worked in a job that gave him access to residences, such as utility or service work. Over the years, Brittany's mother, Dr. Maggie Zingman, had become a central figure in the fight for justice. She created what became known as the Caravan to Catch a Killer. Driving across the country in a bright-colored vehicle covered in Brittany's photos, the case detail, raising awareness and pushing for advancements in DNA laws. Her advocacy contributed to legislation in Oklahoma requiring DNA collection at the time of arrest, although funding and implementation have not been inconsistent. Another major issue uncovered during this was the backlog of untested sexual assault kits in Oklahoma. Thousands of kits, some dating back decades, that had never been tested. This raised the possibility that the person responsible for Brittany's assault and murder may have committed other crimes that were never fully investigated. Today, Brittany Phillips' case remains unsolved. The DNA evidence still exists, eventually lead to identification through genetic genealogy, as seen in other cases. For now, the person responsible has never been named, and Brittany's family continues to wait for answers. Brittany is remembered as intelligent, kind, driven, and full of potential. A young woman who came home to be closer to the people she loved and lost her life just days later. Before we end this case, it's important to pause for a second and remember who this really was about. This was Brittany Yvonne Sarah Phillips. She was 18 years old. She had just moved back to Tulsa to be closer to her family and start figuring out her future. She was in school, spending time with friends, and getting closer to her brother again. She had planned, she wanted to go into cancer research. She had already earned a full scholarship. She was doing everything right. And the last conversation she had was completely normal. She called her mom, Dr. Maggie Zingman, asked for help setting up a doctor's appointment, dropped off a friend, and went home. There was nothing unusual about that night. That's what makes this case so difficult. There was no warning, no clear reason why she was targeted, and no answers about who did this. Her mom has spent years trying to get answers, traveling, speaking out, pushing for DNA testing and awareness, not just for Brittany, but for the other victims too. Because of her, this isn't something you move on from. It's something you live with, and today there is still DNA in this case. There is still evidence, which means this is not a case that's impossible to solve. Just hasn't been solved yet. Someone out there knows something. It might be something small, it might be something that didn't seem important at the time, but cases like this are often solved because one person finally speaks up. Brittany is still remembered by the people who knew her as kind, hardworking, and someone who treated people well. And that's how she should be remembered. Not just a case, but as a person whose life was cut short. If you have any information about what happened, you're encouraged to contact law enforcement because all these years, her family is still waiting for answers and she deserves justice. This is the case of Brittany Phillips. Now let's get into some theories.
Theories.
Let's get into some theories. Let's get into some theories. Everyone is a suspect until proven guilty. Let's get into some theories. Lesbian detectives. What type of thoughts you thinking? What theories running through your mind? I'm thinking all types of suspicion. Uncover the truth, what we can find. Witness say they saw somebody creeping out the back door. What you think they did it for? That's so crazy, I'm not sure. They found a car, where could she be? Here go another puzzle piece. Researching through your history. It's plenty unsolved mysteries. Everyone is a suspect until proven guilty. Let's get into some theories, yeah. Let's get into some theories. Let's get into some theories. Everyone is a suspect until proven guilty. Let's get into some theories. Lesbian detectives.
You or me? When I was doing my research for this case and I saw what the police thought the suspect might have been, I'm like, man, it's crazy because he looked like a normal person. Like when I saw the picture, I'm like, he looked like a college student. And she was going to college. So I'm like, I know when I went to college, we had to take pictures of ourselves for our IDs. I know like it was like the early 2000s. So I'm like, they might have took pictures. Can we look into like the college to see if he went there? Did he know her? Because if you see him, even though they said like doing the research, they said, oh, we don't know this person's age, but we think he's under 25. So to me, it's like, did she know him? We don't know who she was dating because she was 18. You know, we don't know who she was dating and who she was entertaining. So that's another thing that I feel like the police need to look into. Like, go back to the college years and get all the pictures of the guys that you might think it is. Because, I mean, it probably in the system by now. Probably. Or can we look into, I know it's a long shot, but like driver's license, stuff like that. To me, his DNA, I feel like his DNA probably is in Ancestry or 23andMe. I feel like there's a possibility that one of his family members did that test and it's in there. Like it's time to start using ancestries and 23andMe to solve so many cases because we can solve so many cases with those, apps. Do you think it may be somebody she knows or you think it was a stranger?
I think it was a stranger. I don't think it was somebody she knew. Just because they were talking about the attic and how I believe 8 units were tied together. So it could have been somebody that knew the complex that was watching her. Maybe a neighbor.
Fear My Neighbor, like that show. Like, it's always somebody close by and you never look at that person close by. Like, what if he lived close and he knew the attic and he's like crawled through? That is kind of crazy. That's like, now is that a new fear of mine, that somebody can be in your attic and come down and kill you. Like, that's a new fear of mine now. Thanks for this case.
You're welcome.
And this part remind me of The Pit. You know, when watching The Pit and that girl got sexual assault and that nurse, she did her kit and she went back and put the kit in like the little refrigerator and she saw the kit that she did weeks ago still there and the police never got it. Like when they said like, oh, Oklahoma Police Department didn't test a lot of their kits, that just brought me back because it's like we're still going through this situation now. Like you saw it in The Pit and that was a good job with the writers putting that in there. But it's like, dang, like what if this man was a serial rapist and you didn't do your job and test the kits long ago and you could have had a pattern? I mean, think about Ted Bundy, which one of his victims just got solved. Like one of his victims that he SA and murdered, they just figured out that he was the person that unalived her. May she rest in peace. But it's like DNA testing is so important, and it's just crazy that they don't do it regularly. Like they don't care to really. I feel like every 6 months, because I've seen a lot of cases of that. I feel like every 6 months they should just redo the case, like put it back in the system and redo it.
I just think it could have been anybody. We don't know anybody that didn't like her or was trying to harm her. So I think it was just a one-off, like a stranger that had problems. We don't know because we don't know if other people from that complex also went missing and, were murdered. But to my knowledge, she didn't have any enemies or really any suspects. They, of course, sexually assaulted her. So it's like they wanted one thing. And, someone who didn't like her or something like that, that's probably not what they would want to do, But it just happened to be that way. So very unfortunate.
And to strangle somebody just so personal. Like you look into that person's eyes, like you're seeing the life leave them and just sick. I do wonder when you said about like, because they didn't test a lot of people, I wonder if it was more victims in that apartment complex. Because I remember we did a case that a young lady was SA and murdered in her apartment complex. And a couple years later, it was somebody else, but they never connected. I don't know why the police didn't do it, but they never connected that. But I feel like knowing Brittany's mom and how she's fighting for her daughter to get justice and other family members to get justice for their loved ones, I feel like she probably would have put those pieces together. But we never know, because what if somebody did get sexual assault and she just never told the police because she was scared? Like, what if he threatened her and she like, you know what? You know where I live. You know things about me. It's just sad. But guys, that is our case. And don't forget, we are on all podcast platforms, all social medias, and we are also on YouTube. So please come check us out. Give us a 5-star rating. And also like, comment, and subscribe. And guys, I'm going to get back on my True Crime 1 minute. It's just been a busy month. But I got you guys. I cannot wait to see what you say about my cases on there. This is Lesbian Detectives. Don't forget, everybody's a suspect.
So proven innocent.
Bye-bye.
Lesbian Detective. Unsolved cases. She's still missing. Yeah, they haven't found her yet. Well, let's talk about it.
They say he vanished without a trace. Could it be a psychotic break or a tragic accident? Police don't know where the body went. Unsolved murders, body still missing. That's unheard. Where's the witness? Lesbian detectives, what's going on? City on high alert, this out the norm. He did what, the who? Man, that ain't real, these crimes ain't true. Then come uncover these theories with us. We live right now, tuning in is a must.
Detective. We about to start the show, so get your popcorn ready, let's go. Pay attention to the message I present to you, the Lesbian Detectives.